While re-watching Demon Slayer and reading the manga, I realized there are a lot of changes worth mentioning between the entertainment arc's anime and manga. So today, I'll tell you 21 things that changed between these two versions. 1. Okay, so the sequence after Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke leave the Butterfly Mansion is all reorganized and mixed with anime-exclusive content. Originally, Tengen and the boys first arrive at the Wisteria house. Tengen explains the plan to the boys, we get some context of the districts through some illustrations, and then Tengen sells them to their respective houses. Now, in the anime, we see the district first. How? By the boys fooling around. Of course, the entertainment district was going to be heaven for little hormonal Zenitsu, with some girls offering him candy and flirting with him. Inosuke goes crazy because there's just too many people, and of course, Tanjiro only tries to get them to behave. That's when Tengen gives more context about the district. Then they go to the Wisteria house to get everything prepared and talk about the plan. And the anime and the manga match up again in the selling the girls process. 2. This flashback of Tengen visiting his family's graves with his wives right after episode 9's opening doesn't appear in the manga, but I'm genuinely grateful that it was added. More context about characters is always appreciated, even though it's a double-edged sword since it makes you care more about them and kills you inside when they die. But it's still very worth it. 3. As one could assume, all the battling present in this arc is way more detailed and extended in the anime, but I wanted to point out the moment when Tengen gets back on his feet and helps Tanjiro behead Gyutaro. In the anime, we truly see how Tengen manages to wield his blades perfectly even after losing his hand. Later on, he starts reciting Gyutaro's score, which he doesn't do in the manga. And lastly, the moment when Tengen and Gyutaro are one-on-one is way longer in the anime, and more epic too. 4. In the first episode, Tanjiro and Nezuko fight against this spidery demon. However, there is nothing about this battle shown in the manga. We just see Tanjiro and a little text clarifying he was coming back from a solo mission. 5. Gyutaro's corpse explosion was also way bigger and more deadly in the anime. Ufotable managed to turn only 2 panels into a city-sized explosion of blood sickles. We even see in the recap shown in episode 11 that Nezuko destroyed some of the sickles, yet its destruction capacity was limitless. 6. Those who read the manga before this season's release probably made this same face Inosuke made when finding Zenitsu in the food storage. Because in the manga, we don't get to see how Daki got him. But there is an after-credit scene in episode 3 that shows how she did it. Poor Zenitsu didn't have a single second to rest and heal. It did give us a great cliffhanger though. 7. After Daki destroys the whole street in episode 6, we see how Tanjiro's eyes get injected with blood and he gets full of absolute rage against Daki. He gets way better at fighting with Daki when enraged, but right before he's about to cut her neck, the image of his sister reminds him to breathe, saving him from dying. This makes sense in the anime, but it's way better explained in the manga. There, they talk about how demons would have ceased to exist long ago if humans could only win driven by emotion. But they can't since they're limited by their human existence. They also compare how demons don't have these limits, while Nezuko attacks Daki to protect her brother. It would have been amazing if they had found an organic way of putting that in the anime. 8. This arc adds some details to the end of the Mugen Train arc. Remember in this video, when I said that the Kakashi didn't appear when the boys were crying right after Rengoku's death? Well, they do appear as part of Tanjiro's flashback of the event in the first episode. We also see a crow telling Rengoku's brother about the Hashira's death, which we don't see in the manga. And lastly, we see Kaguya feeling honored by Tanjiro's words to Akaza while he was escaping into the woods. 9. In chapter 72 of the manga, the hostess getting mad at Tanjiro for the scar on his forehead is just a comment from one of the girls who work there. But in episode 2 of the anime, we get this funny shot of the hostess going crazy after seeing the scar. 10. There is a subtle but important change in the background of this scene in the anime. Let's take a look at this cut in both versions. As you see in the manga, the windows are shoji door style, meaning that even when closed, some light can still go through. In the anime, however, they are covered with even more paper, making the room look way darker than the outside. Definitely a more amusing and logical environment for a demon. Did you know that the real reason why Gyutaro is that ugly is that he never subscribed to Mini Katana? That is the secret to Tengen's perfection. And just so you know, at 100k, we're giving away 3 free Demon Slayer swords to subscribers. So make sure you subscribe to enter the giveaway. 11. Thanks to the benefits of animation, Inosuke's explanation of the ranks is way more entertaining in the anime than the one in the manga, having an additional little fun fight between Inosuke's and Murata's heads. Sadly, that's a luxury only an animated version can get. 12. In the manga, The women react to Inosuke dislocating his joints to fit into the hole, but sadly in the anime, they only react to him fitting his head in there. God, I would have loved to watch them become horrified by Inosuke dislocating his whole body. 13. At the beginning of episode 5, we have some added shots. In the anime, we see when Tengen finds Hinatsuru, while in the manga, he has already rescued her and is giving her an antidote. Another change is that in the manga, a panel explains that she was in the lowest class brothel, where basically nobody went. Only 6 spicy workers were sent there. 14. After knowing Daki and Gyutaro's backstory, the flashback Daki gets in the anime while being burnt by Nezuko's blood demon art hurts a lot more. The manga is way more abstract, but it would have been cool to see the silhouettes of the people that tried to kill her in the manga's flashback too. 15. I got a little confused over this part of his dialogue in episode 7. I didn't know what his name had to do with making them pay for what they had done. I would have had more luck with the manga since they explain this a little before this dialogue happens. So maybe it would have been helpful if they somehow showed that explanation in the anime too. 16. While Inosuke and Zenitsu are fighting with Daki, you can see that in the manga, they are bleeding, but in the anime, they don't have a single scratch. 17. Ufotable definitely does its best to make us feel everything more intensely, and this scene is no exception. When Makio and Suma are trying to evacuate everyone from the district, the anime shows us more of the destruction and pain the battle is causing to the people. You can literally see trauma in those people's eyes. 18. Now let's go to this scene right here in episode 10. Gyutaro is illustrating Tanjiro on how he is in big trouble. Tanjiro runs off in the anime, but in the manga, he stays there. This part goes along with other changes about how Tanjiro got the kunai that he used to stab Gyutaro's leg. In the manga, it seems that Hinatsuru gave it to him before leaving. We can see it both in chapter 91 and then again in chapter 92 where Gyutaro is trying to guess where he got the kunai. In the anime, this moment just doesn't appear anywhere, and Gyutaro's theory is that Tanjiro got the kunai when he ran off. 19. The first pages of chapter 94 explain that our heroes had a hard time battling the siblings because Gyutaro was able to control Daki's movements. It would have been interesting to see that more explicitly shown in the anime. 20. Nezuko is always behind Tanjiro when they find Daki and Gyutaro's heads, while in the manga, she is behind Daki's head. I 100% prefer the manga's version because it would have been so beautiful seeing the parallel of each sibling visually portrayed this way. 21. Another catch from Ufotable of a mistake in the manga is when Tanjiro wakes up and pats Nezuko on the head. His hand looks completely fine in the manga, while in the anime, they kept his broken fingers. What other changes do you think are worth mentioning? Leave them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. That was everything for today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get even more amazing Demon Slayer content. I'll see you in the next one.